Okay, we are going over the Chandler and Price letterpress proofing press from the late 1800s. This thing is an antique. It's solid iron. It's a pretty simple machine, but it has one incredibly dangerous feature in that the drum that's used to print it sits in a groove, so that's why the yellow chalk needs to be in place at all times when this press is not being used, and you need to monitor anyone who's in the area to make sure that fingers are not in the way, because that would be incredibly bad. Otherwise, the press is fairly easy to use. The setup is a little bit tricky. I'm going to try to go over that today. So the main issue with this press is that you cannot change the height that the block sits at. It was initially designed for a letterpress tray that was just under an inch high. So in order to adapt the press to use with a block print, you need to raise the height of the block. You may need to raise the height of the block. We've installed a stop at one end so that you can easily register a block or paper, and at the other end there is a L-shaped piece of wood that I've duct taped to the bed, and this I'm using as my paper registration and also as a way to get the block to be straight. So hopefully you will see how this method, jerry-rigged at best, kind of works to help create the correct height for printing.
Don't make it one bed. Like, don't make it just curve. I mean, you keep it open. Like it would go here, and it would go here, but not go here and go back.
Another 50% taller, it might have given enough body to it. It's just so they're 3 inches wide.
And the above the text is a feather.
Not actually, it's not relatively good. You know, it could have been salvaged.
Yeah, okay. I thought the feather would probably be more difficult because the little lines, the
Sorry about that. I forgot to ink the block.
So this stuff is currently wax. And so like one is just tone. But the metallic ones have a little bit of metal to it. So when you have an etch, you kind of buff it into the etched parts, and you can clean off the unetched bits. Just kind of wipe out and it'll leave.
So there's a few layers of foam and chipboard, and then I've got the 3/8 inch block that I'm using happens to be 3/8 of an inch, and then another 3/8 inch block on top of that. And this is just trial and error. I ran it through a couple times without ink on it, and so basically dry runs. And then once I felt like I got the right block height, then now I'm ready to ink and print. And remove the chalk, remove the chalk, and then just something to on top of the paper to help with the friction. And then this is the suede blanket, which is original, very old. Probably could use a replacement. So this print by putting both hands on either side of the handles of the drum and then just roll across. Make sure that drum sits in its There's a little bit of a dip on either side, and the drum can sit in there when it's not in use. And let's see how I did.
Oh, I saw one there trying to play the glass.
All right, there's my print.
Oh, there.
I did like a
Yeah, you made a mistake for it.
I just used a piece of metal trap basically.
So pretty good, actually, considering
Because the diameter of the top was wider than
that this press is not really meant for this particular purpose. However, the nice thing about it is that there is the ability to set type because there's an area, a depressed area below where the roller sits. Unlike the etching press where the block sits up on the press bed, this one has a depression. So type, either metal type or 3D printed type, if it's the correct height, can be added into the image area, and you could do letterpress or combination block print and letterpress on this press. So the possibility for expansion in terms of media is wide open. It just takes a little bit of kind of trial and error before you get comfortable with printing on it, because it's not the most technically advanced piece of equipment.